guys, welcome back, and hello if you are new, and it is time to delve back into Apocalyptic Anniversaries. I know you guys have really wanted me to do this, and I think for last year I just kind of didn't really have it in me, but this year I'm going to give it a go. And also we get to talk about some amazing albums that I haven't really spoken about on camera before. The first of which is the 10th anniversary of Periphery's Juggernaut. So this is the third album in Periphery's catalogue after the amazing proggy madness of the self-titled and then Periphery 2. Both albums got released on exactly the same day, and I really do think personally they are my favourite Periphery albums. And a big part of this is kind of to do with the concept, I think. So if you're kind of not really wanting to, have any spoilers or anything like that, look away or fast forward now, because I'm going to go into the concept of what Alpha and Omega represent. So a key to why this record is so great, I think, is because of its story. So it's broken down into two halves. So you've got Alpha, which I'll go into first, and then Omega. So Alpha starts off with this guy who has basically been born into a cult. He's completely brainwashed and grows up believing he needs to kill people in the world, right? Then afterwards, he kind of, over the years develops a conscience, let's say, and tries to sort of figure out why he's doing this and actually escapes the cult. But the problem is because of the abuse and all of the sort of violence, I guess, that he's been subjected to, he's kind of created a multiple personality, essentially. And as much as he wants to move on and, kind of live in the world, he can't seem to do that. And he really kind of crumbles under that pressure. That's the end of Juggernaut Alpha. So when we go into Omega, this is where he realizes that he has to return to the cult, but they don't accept him immediately. They kind of put him through even more torture and basically, kind of to earn his place again. And so his new place is he's kind of guarding of these jail cells, and he meets this priestess who basically tells him that she's in love with him, blah, blah, blah. It's all a ruse for her to get out of these cells. But he falls in love with her, and then, long story short, they execute her the day before they were going to try and break out together. So he's absolutely crushed by this, can't go on living. So he goes off on this crazy rampage and kills some of the cult members and himself. And then, so in that, he kind of goes into this version of hell where he sees his life kind of flash before his eyes and realizes that all that he needed in the first place was love. So in the end, he makes a sort of bargain or a pact with this sort of spiritual deity so that he can be reincarnated and reborn into the world anew. And that is the story of Juggernaut, Alpha, and Omega. So I think the great thing about this record is the fact that it's a double album makes things very like yin and yang, so you've got good, which is Alpha, versus evil, which is Omega. You've got light imagery on Alpha, dark imagery on Omega. The songs are slightly sort of less dense, more accessible on Alpha, but more aggressive and more progressive, I guess, on Omega. There's major keys and minor keys. It's all of this sort of stuff that works to kind of create a contrast between the two. But then what I really love is that by the end of the record, it feels like Alpha and Omega have kind of merged to become, as one, I guess. And it kind of has that sort of realization, especially around sort of Stranger Things, that there's all of those melodies that are amazing, in Alpha that kind of come in. And there's also all these different, little breadcrumbs of melodies that were in Alpha but have been repurposed on Omega and then brought down slightly. It's just really, 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 really clever in terms of the songwriting and also lyrics as well. There's moments which kind of pick back up, and then there's that cyclical element because it sounds like the beginning of Alpha right at the end of Juggernaut Omega. I also think what's so great about this record is it's a concept album, but it also doesn't necessarily have to be a concept album. You know, it's not like one of those ones where you listen to it and you kind of have to almost like engage in a chapter. Like these songs could just be songs on their own. You know, they're that good at kind of, you know, writing that sort of stuff. And I really love the fact that the artwork, you know, was different. It was done by the guy who's like a graphic novel artist, I think, who did 30 Days of Night, Silent Hill. So it kind of has that sort of spooky, ethereal kind of vibe to it. Juggernaut really paved the way for the later years of Periphery, you know, that electronic influence kind of bleeding in. And definitely, I think the real strong melodies that they've been so great at, you know, especially Select Difficulty, like the melodies on that were insane. But hands down, I think this is one of the best progressive metal albums out there, you know, like modern progressive metal albums. And I do really hope that one day maybe we might get a continuation of this, Juggernaut 3, or, you know, wherever this sort of higher being goes, and then just kind of carry the story on. But yeah, that's kind of like my little love letter to Juggernaut. It's absolutely fantastic record, one of my favourites, and I can't believe that it's 10 years since it was released. I still remember picking it up in HMV on CD. That was before I collected records and stuff. So yeah, pretty wild. Let me know what you think of Juggernaut in the comments underneath me. Have you listened to it? Have you never heard of it? Do you like Periphery? Let me know and I will get back to you in the comments. Other than that, I'll see you guys very, very soon for even more Apocalyptic Anniversaries. Thanks so much. It's actually been really, really fun to kind of go back down memory lane with this one.